Hey folks, just going for a bit of a morning stroll and thought I would make the video on the fly. So, the benefits of quitting weed. This video is targeted at a very specific type of person. This video is not for people who currently smoke a lot of weed and are perfectly happy with life. They're perfectly content with the volume of their weed usage. You don't really need this video. Likewise, this video is not for people who either do not smoke much at all or smoke very occasionally and they have no issues in this area. So it's not for you. But who this video is for people who smoke quite a bit of weed, say every day, and you feel like perhaps you would be better without it. Life would be better without it. So you're contemplating quitting it, but it's a little bit of a difficult decision because weed is very pleasurable, very comforting, and it can be challenging to quit. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing what I have seen as the significant benefits that I've had when I've quit weed. And maybe this can sort of give a bit of motivation for people who are considering making this decision. So I'll share the benefits that I've had doing many quittings over the years. And I'll also share some how-tos and tips for how to quit more effectively without relapsing. We have a roadwork thing there. I hope you can still hear me. Alright, let's get to where it's a bit quieter. Okay, so what are the benefits of quitting? I just want to give a little bit of context here and say I have quit many times and relapsed many times, right? So I have been a full-time stoner, then I would quit for say a few months, then I would fall back into it for a few weeks, then quit for a few months, fall back for a few weeks, on and on the cycle goes, and it keeps on going. But I keep on quitting because it is so beneficial. That's why I keep on doing the cycle. Now, some of the big benefits I get. Okay, here's how I'll break it down. I'll give you some of the awesome benefits that I get from staying away from weed, and then some of the big benefits I get from weed, so we can sort of compare the positive aspects of each. So what are the positive aspects without weed when, say, I'm just fully sober for a few months? A big one, I would say that I'm much more productive. I have much better memory and much better foresight and planning. So let's look at productivity. It really is so much easier to fall into a productive groove when fully sober. It's much easier to create a routine of productive tasks that you do every day consistently. And when you sit down to do those productive tasks, I find I just get more done in that hour than if I would have when stoned. I find that my focus is better. I'm able to sit and focus on a task and go longer without wavering my focus, so much more focus. And also having enhanced memory through sobriety really feeds into that productiveness because you are able to easier remember where you want to be going, and then what you're meant to do to get there. You're better able to remember all the important things worth remembering, which will inform what you're going to do. So, there's some of the big benefits that I get when I am fully sober for long periods of time. Much more productiveness day in, day out, much better memory, much more focus toward long-term goals. There's some of the big benefits. So what are the big benefits of smoking weed? It's good to know what smoking weed gives to us if we're going to decide whether or not we want to quit. So what weed gives me, the positives, it puts me into flow states much easier to be enthralled by a task, usually a musical task or a movement task, much easier to find flow states. The other one is it gives me a lot of spiritual vision. I sort of can see spiritual principles of reality a lot easier. And it also gives me relaxation and it gives me presence. So that's some of the things that it gives me, but it's with the trade-off of higher productivity, higher memory, higher foresight and planning. So, which benefits are most worth it? Well, given that I am quitting weed once again, it's pretty obvious that the benefits of being sober are stronger, at least in my opinion. I find that weed, it gives you like a sort of instant and easy source of pleasure. While it can be very fulfilling in multiple ways, it is someone's singing opera behind me. That kind of distracted me. But yeah, so the benefits of weed, they are more short-term focused. They give you that benefit in the short term and it's very fun and pleasurable. Whereas the benefits of sobriety, they don't give you that short-term pleasure as much, but they give you more of that long-term pleasure. It gives you the ability to build things and create things that will really create lasting fulfillment, because it is the more actualized path. It is easier to create your fullest potential in the world when you are productive every day. Whereas weed can be like a roller coaster that takes you up and down, but you're not sort of climbing the mountain to success in the same way. And when I stick with sobriety for a long period of time, say that few months, the sort of pleasure and joy really begins to well up. It's like the natural rewards emerge again, and yeah, life is very fun and more productive. And I find my moods are just more stable, energy is more stable, focus is more stable. It is the best way to live. I would say that marijuana is not a good partner to have in one's life every day, at least in my experience. So what are some good little tips to effectively quit, if you wish to quit, and stay sober? One big tip is don't go to environments where there will be weed in close proximity. So say if you have a handful of friends who are having sessions at their house every day, don't go to that house because you will relapse very easily. But this doesn't mean that you are not friends with that person. You will remain friends with them, but catch up with them in other environments where weed is not in close proximity. Catch up with them at the beach, the park, or having coffee or a lunch, or a bigger social gathering. They're the places to go. Do I have any other effective tools for quitting? That's probably one of the best ones I have. And then just knowing clearly why you want to quit, and having a very strong reason why, and just not going in those environments where weed is. Oh, and there is another great tip, which is ensure that you are replacing the weed habit with other habits. This will probably naturally happen anyway, but it's very good to replace one habit with another. So whether that habit be an extra exercise routine in the day. Maybe you weren't exercising before, but now you exercise. It'll help give you a natural high. It can even be better than weed, actually, the high from exercise. Perhaps more meditation, perhaps more reading. That can be a really big one. More reading, more journaling, more socializing even. Like instead of socializing with your friends who are all stoners, you socialize in a different setting where there's more people. So that's really a few ways to sort of maintain your sobriety. Okay, so let's do a quick fire summary of the video. So I looked at the benefits of being sober versus the benefits of being high. The benefits of sobriety, at least in my experience, were more productiveness, better memory, better foresight and better planning, and better focus. The benefits of weed were easier flow states, spiritual vision, relaxation, and presence. Then when comparing which of those is better, I do recommend the sober benefits because it gives you more long-lasting growth and success and fulfillment. Then we looked at some little tips for how to quit effectively and stay sober. Those tips were: don't go to the house of your stoner friends where weed constantly is. Rather, catch up with people in more public environments where there won't be weed. Another tip: replace the weed habit with other habits, whether it be extra exercising, extra reading, journaling, meditation, socializing. Just replace it with a positive habit that is enjoyable. And that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, there was one last little tip for how to quit effectively, and that is letting yourself have weed occasionally. So what is a good frequency of occasionally? I would say have weed on the come down of having something else. So a lot of us are aware that certain substances, especially in the psychedelic category, are very, very beneficial for a person to do on occasion, say every 3 months as a rule of thumb. And I would certainly advocate having a bit of weed on the come down of that journey, because weed is very beneficial in that context. It can help make the come down both more stimulating and enjoyable, plus more relaxing, and it kind of puts you to sleep easier after being so stimulated. So I like to see weed as a cushion for the landing of the come down. So I think using it only in that context, say at the come down and maybe the day after where you're also recovering, that can be a good way to mediate your weed usage. Just use it every 3 months to accompany the larger voyage. But then don't have it as an everyday partner, because that is when it can start to take more than it gives. So yes, I hope this video is informative and beneficial to you. And good luck in being sober, and good luck in being your best version. Peace.